let's talk about the newest legendary Diversa collection from Oden's Eye. They are releasing 3 new palettes as well as 9 lip products. They are with Tina, Annette's Makeup Corner, and Judy. I will link all their channels down below, and if you're familiar with Oden's Eye, you know that they did do a collection a couple of years ago, and this time we have lip products, which I'm super extra excited about. And thank you so much to Oden's Eye for sending these products over to me. So let's get right into the 3 palettes. There is the Spring Dragon, which is Judy's palette, and as always, Oden's Eye does some great artwork on their packaging. I mean, this is so beautiful. There's Judy on the cover, and the inside color story matches the dragon for sure. So we have a very springy, very pastel color story. There's some shimmers, there's some mattes and the shimmers, and then there's Tina's palette, the Earthwood palette. There's some beautiful flowers and butterflies, a little bit more colorful, and then here is the inside color story, a little bit on the springy side as well, I would say, but there are definitely some deeper mattes in here and a really nice variety of shimmers as well. And then there's the Mighty Monster palette, which is Annette's palette, and this one has a snake on it, and then the inside color story also definitely matches the cover art. So there are some blues, greens, purples, lots of vibrant colors in this one. And then along with each of these 3 palettes, there's also lip products. So these seem to be the same formulas that have launched previously last Halloween with the Angelica Collab palettes. So there are the Shine, there's one matte, and then there's also Glow. So it's really predominantly lip glosses, which I love their lip glosses, and I do really enjoy this formula. I am wearing Tulips right now, which I feel like such a perfect name for the shade, and I love that the packaging reflects the themes. And congratulations to all the collaborators on this beautiful collection. There's also satin scarves which have the beautiful graphic on them for each of the collaborators that you can, I don't remember if they throw them in with the collection or if you can buy them separately. And then they also have like these cute little magnets as well as these like keychains. I don't know the exact launch information yet and all the pricing, so I will put that down in the description box once they reveal everything. So I'm going to be creating a look with each of the palettes, so let's get right into it. So for the first look, I'm going to be using the Spring Dragon palette, and I'm just priming with the P. Louise primer, and this is the shade 0, and it is white. Because this is a pastel palette, I'm going to be using a really light base. I'm just gonna kind of feather the edges of that. I don't necessarily want like white from down up all the way up to my eyebrows. I'm just kind of blending it and then just tapping on it. Taking a seeding, I'm gonna pop that onto the inner third of my lid. Very pastel, as you can see. Like, this is as pastel as pastels get. And then next to it, contemplating, I think I'm gonna go in with Rain. It is very pigmented though. Pigmented but very light. And then here's just like a second layer that applied very nicely. I wasn't a huge fan of some of the pastel shades in one of their 2023 holiday palettes, the one that had like the lighter shades in there. I just felt like they were a little bit too like thin and dusty. And then I'm gonna take Blossom and I'm gonna pop that onto the outer corner, and I'm just gonna be kind of keeping it out here and then blending it into the blue a little bit, and then just blending it outwards, whatever might be left on the skin and on the brush, and just taking it outwards, and everything is blending super nicely. Taking Wood, and I'm just gonna pop that onto this outer corner, which is, it's basically like a darker brown. I would say it's maybe just slightly cool tone. It's kind of neutral, but it's maybe just a little bit cooler tone. But I think it's nice to just deepen it out here a little bit. I'm gonna go back in with the pink brush, just feather that out. I picked up Petal. I'm just gonna put that right here towards the outer corner. I want to kind of use as many shimmers as possible. I'm gonna take Plum, which looks a little bit chunkier in the pan, so it's not picking up the best. Would probably recommend using a tacky primer. Yeah, this one's pretty sheer as well, so you could use this one as like a topper. And then on the inner corner, taking Moss, which is smooth. I'm just popping that in here. Definitely want to go in with my finger. I do feel like I can get probably a lot more kind of shine that I see with my finger. So next I'm taking my pinky on that center shade, which was Plum. And then I'm also going to use Petal with my pinky. And then I'm just going to flick off any of the fallout, but definitely recommend doing your eyeshadow before your base makeup. Really love how this look came out. The shimmers are so shiny. Next, dipping into the Mighty Monster palette, I'm first taking Oceanic. I'm just gonna pop that about halfway into my crease and a little bit into the center of my lid as well. And then I'm gonna take Ophidian and pop that right in there and just blend it into that shade. Just kind of blending them together. Just going back in with a little bit more Oceanic. Those kind of blended together to create this really stunning periwinkle shade, which I love that. On the outer portion, going into Jormungandr. No idea what that is. I will have to Google that after this. I'm just taking that onto the outer corner. Just kind of blended it out here. Just a little bit more. I feel like this is kind of the deepest shade in here. And then Abyss is a little bit like it's a darker brown, but it's not like the darkest deepening brown. And then I think on the inner portion here underneath the rest of my lower lash line, I'm gonna take Solar Dust. Really fun little orange pop. This is, look at that. I also love these two shades together. I kind of want to do just like a look with them together. That would be really fun. I'm gonna take Glow Vortex. I'm just gonna pop that onto the inner corner. Oh yeah, especially with that orange. Ooh, that is so stunning. Okay, so I'm gonna take some of the Shimmer Stay from Beaute bar, and I'm just gonna pop that over here. Just gonna tap on it a little bit, just spread it and make sure there's not too much on my lid. Picked up Serpent Scales, which this one's a little bit flaky, but look at that sparkle. It is so shiny. Really beautifully shiny. I'm going to take a little bit more. And then I think on the inner portion, I'm going to go in with Electrum. And just pop that right in here. So here's the look with Mighty Monster. So I'm dipping into the Earthwood palette and I'm picking up Heal. And I'm just going to pop that essentially into the crease. So excited because there's this green in here. Can't wait to show you the green shimmer on the lid. It is so stunning. And then I'm taking Petal and it's just gonna go into the outer corner and underneath a little bit of my lower lash line, just a tad. And then I'm gonna slowly start to blend it outwards. I love these two colors together. Just blending it out. And I am smoking it out. Just a tad. I'm gonna take the other brush and just go over the edges. And I'm picking up Blossom with my pinky. I love the shade. The moment I swatched the shade, I was like, I have to use it. It is such a cool tone. And it has so many sparkles throughout it. It is such a standout. And then I'm taking Beauty right onto the inner portion. And just look at that combo. And here's the finished look. So first, I want to talk about the lip products. I already know I love the Glow and the Shine formulas for sure. And then I've mentioned previously in my video on the Angelica collab of the matte, which is very much like the Kaleidos lip clay. So if you like those, you will enjoy these. However, I do think the doe foot applicator is a little bit wonky on that one. It was a little bit harder to apply. It almost seemed like the fibers on the doe foot applicator were just kind of like flattened. So I don't know if I just got a dead applicator, but I did not notice that with the other products I have from them that are this matte formula. And the doe foot applicator for the glow and shine is totally fine. Love this formula. It is a little bit thicker of a gloss, so it just means that it will last a bit longer on your lips, and it's not sticky or uncomfortable by any means. It wears gracefully. I really hope to see Oden's Eye come out with like permanent shades from these different formulas to their line, because right now they've only come out with these during the collabs. So now let's talk about the palettes. I'm pretty familiar with Oden's Eye. I've been using their eyeshadow palettes for a couple years now, so I feel like I'm pretty familiar with the different textures in terms of shimmers as well as mattes that they have. I really do enjoy their matte formula. So first up, let's talk about Judy's palette. These are really pastel, like as pastel as it gets. I think some of these are a little bit more pigmented than others, but specifically Seedling and Hua, I'm not sure how these are going to show up on different skin tones. There is one deepening up shade, but I think overall it's definitely a very light color story, so you really have to like pastels. As for the shimmers, they're so beautiful. Long is a satin, and then Plum and Dew are more topper-like shades, which I love. They're also very sparkly. I do want to mention that Plum does feel a little bit squishy in the pan if you like push down on it. Probably have to be careful on how I use it. Also, I wanted to swatch compare some of the shades in these palettes to some of their Jewel Shine eyeshadows that they have. They're single eyeshadows, and those eyeshadows are like 2.8 grams or something like that, and there's a couple of similarities, and I think this is a great opportunity if you are not really into single eyeshadows. You'd rather buy a curated color story, and also you don't really want a big pan of that eyeshadow. I think these palettes are going to be a great option for you if you were interested in some of the single shades that I'm going to be showing you as I'm talking through the swatch comparisons too. Petal is absolutely stunning. It is definitely a flowery spring shade. It is very dimensional. It's got like blue flecks throughout it. It is so special. So upon first impressions, I do enjoy the palette. I'm glad that there is one deepening up shade in here, but it's not personally a color story that I see myself reaching for a lot. Let's talk about the Mighty Monster palette next. Definitely think that this color story is more up my alley because there are some deepening up shades. I love that there is a bright red, a bright orange, bright purple. I think it's a really fun color story. The shimmers in here are really shimmering. They're all very shiny, very sparkly, somewhat topper-like. I do want to mention Glow Vortex is a little bit squishy in the pan, and also Electrum. So if you have hooded oily lids, then it's definitely something to consider. I had no issues with the mattes. They feel like really great Oden's Eye matte formula. And then the Earthwood palette, I love this color story. I think it's really fun because it has a little bit of like a springy feel, but it has some depth to it, and also I just love the tones in here, specifically Petal and Blossom. So beautiful together, but I just feel like there's a lot of opportunities with this color story. The moment I opened this palette and I saw the shade Beauty, I was like, I'm in love. I love this kind of shade. I just love greens with like a pink reflect. It is similar to their single eyeshadow Ingrid, but that one was so squishy. I can't use it at all. This one is not squishy, and the tone straight on is a little bit different from Ingrid. And then Moss is a little bit more like a satin shade. Blossom, Coast, and Strength are really beautiful and shiny, and the mattes I used performed great. So far, these are all the usual Oden's Eye formula, but of course, it's just my first impressions, and I will keep you updated if anything changes. And so those are some of my initial thoughts on some of these products. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for this launch, if you plan on picking anything up. And again, huge congratulations to Annette, Judy, and Tina on this collaboration. And that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.